You probably spent your mornings scrolling through real estate listings made of sawdust and broken promises. One heavy storm and those modern roofs are gone. You pay $500,000 for a glorified cardboard box where neighbors can hear you sneeze. It is a trap designed to keep you fragile and paying HOA fees. But smart asset hunters look for something heavier. They look for the iron bones of the industrial age. We are talking about abandoned water plants, power stations, and windowless switch centers. These were built to survive an apocalypse, not just a summer rain. They have walls thick enough to stop a freight train and heavy-duty wiring already in place. In certain rural counties, the zoning is wide open for a legal bunker conversion. Reality check. These aren't turnkey homes for the weak. But if you want a sanctuary standing in 500 years, these 10 sites are the only answer. Number 10. Abandoned water treatment plants, Illinois. Look at the banks of the Ohio River. There are concrete structures that look like fortresses. They were built in the 1920s to move millions of gallons of water. The walls are 3 feet of reinforced concrete. You can sometimes buy these at a municipal auction for $35,000. Imagine the privacy of living inside a giant concrete cylinder. You have massive holding tanks that can be converted into the ultimate basement. You could build a home theater that is literally bomb-proof. Or you could use the tanks for massive water storage. No neighbor can hear what you are doing inside 3 feet of concrete. You can run a machine shop at 3 a.m. and the world will remain silent. The draw here is the sheer mass of the material. You are buying 1,000 tons of concrete for the price of a used truck. The local culture in these river towns is quiet and hard-working. People mind their own business because they have seen the industry leave. They respect a man who has a plan for a ruin. Here is the part Zillow does not show you in the photos. The dampness is a physical enemy. You will be running 3 commercial dehumidifiers 24 hours a day. Your electric bill will be the price of a small car payment. There is the smell of old river mud and chlorine that never quite leaves the walls. You better be an expert with a concrete saw and a heavy-duty sump pump. You will be spending your weekends sealing cracks with hydraulic cement. You will be fighting the river for every inch of dry floor. But you will be in a building that can survive a 100-year flood while the rest of the town washes away into the Gulf. It is the ultimate low-ground fortress for a man with a vision. You don't just own a home, you own a piece of the planet's plumbing. Number 9. Rural grain elevators, Kansas. These are the cathedrals of the plains. They are massive vertical cylinders of poured concrete. They dominate the flat horizon for 20 miles. When the small farmers went bust, these elevators were left to the wind. You can find smaller concrete elevators for around $45,000 today. The draw is the vertical sovereignty. You are living in a tower that is 100 feet tall. You have the best view in the county and nobody can look into your windows. The walls are built to hold thousands of tons of lateral pressure. They do not care about a Kansas tornado. The wind can howl at 90 miles an hour and you won't even hear a rattle. The local culture is pure agriculture and silence. Your nearest neighbor is a wheat field 3 miles wide. You have absolute privacy and the right to be forgotten. Picture yourself sitting on top of your concrete tower with a telescope. You can see trouble coming from 2 hours away. But here is the part where the fantasy starts charging interest. There are no windows in a grain elevator. Cutting through 2 feet of reinforced concrete to add a window is a $5,000 job for a specialist. You will need a diamond blade saw and a lot of patience. The stairs will destroy your knees in 6 months unless you install an industrial lift. The dust inside is a fire hazard that requires a professional cleaning crew with hazmat suits. You will be living in a giant concrete pipe that echoes every time you drop a spoon. The acoustics are terrible until you hang thousands of dollars in sound dampening. It is a lonely, vertical life for a man who truly hates the ground level. But you will own the tallest building in the zip code for the price of a Camry. You are the king of the wheat, watching the world spin from a concrete perch. Number 8. Telephone exchange buildings, Ohio. Back in the day, the phone companies built windowless brick boxes in every small town. They were designed to protect the switching equipment from fires, riots, and solar flares. These are the most inconspicuous fortresses in America. They look like boring office buildings from the outside. But the walls are 3 layers of solid red brick with steel reinforcement. They have massive cooling vents and industrial power backups already installed. In the fading towns of the Rust Belt, you can find these for under $60,000. The appeal is the hidden in plain sight factor. You are in the middle of a small town, but nobody knows you are there. You have a flat roof that is perfect for a massive solar array and a Starlink dish. The floors are reinforced concrete that can handle a 10-ton lathe or a car collection. You can build a machine shop on the ground floor and a luxury apartment upstairs. The local vibe is coal region tough. People don't ask questions about what happens behind windowless walls. They assume you are doing something important or something dangerous. Either way, they stay off your lawn. Here is the part Zillow hides from the listing. There is zero natural light. You will spend your life under LED shop lights. Your internal clock will break within a month. The ventilation systems are massive and loud. They sound like a jet engine when they kick on. If the AC fails in July, you are living in a brick oven that stays 90 degrees for a week. You better be a master of HVAC systems and interior lighting design. You will be spending $10,000 just to make the air breathable. But for the man who wants absolute digital and physical privacy, the phone exchange is the gold standard. It is a bunker that people walk past every day without a second glance. You are the ghost in the machine, living inside the town's old nervous system. Number 7. Decommissioned Power Substations, Texas. We are looking at the small, fenced-in brick buildings on the edge of town. They used to house transformers, capacitors, and high-voltage gear. Today they are sitting empty behind 10-foot chain-link fences with rusted barbed wire. You can buy these small parcels for $20,000 at a utility auction. The draw is the pre-built security and the massive infrastructure. The fence is already there. The concrete slab is 3 feet thick to support 10-ton iron machinery. The building is usually a single room of thick brick or corrugated steel. It is the perfect starter bunker. You have a private driveway and a lot that is already cleared of trees. The local culture is Texas independence. If you want to keep the high voltage signs on your fence to keep people away, the neighbors will just nod and wave. You have the ultimate excuse for privacy. Picture yourself sitting in a leather chair inside a room that was built to survive a massive electrical explosion. You are safe from the world and the weather. But here is the part where the desert sends you the bill. The soil is often contaminated with old transformer oil, PCBs, and chemicals. You won't be growing an organic garden here. You might need a professional environmental assessment before you can get a residential permit. The building is small, so you will be living a very compact military-style life. The heat in Texas will turn a windowless brick box into a convection oven in 20 minutes. You better have a backup generator that can run a 5-ton AC unit without flinching. You will be spending your life maintaining a cooling system just to stay conscious. But you will own a fenced-in fortress that looks official enough to scare off any trespasser. You are living in a high-voltage ghost, protected by the fear of the grid. Number 6. Former cold storage facilities, Michigan. These were the giant refrigerators for the fruit and meat industry of the Great Lakes. They are massive concrete blocks with 0 windows and 4-inch thick insulated doors. You can find older, smaller facilities in the ports of Michigan for around $75,000. The draw is the thermal stability and the silence. These buildings were designed to keep the cold in. That means they are incredible at keeping the heat in during a Michigan winter. You can heat 10,000 square feet with a single wood stove because the walls are basically a giant Yeti cooler. You have massive interior space for a boat, a truck, and a workshop. The local culture is Yooper grit and self-reliance. People here respect a man who can handle a winter with 200 inches of snow. They won't come to your door to complain about your generator noise or your wood smoke. Here is the ugly part Zillow hides. These buildings do not breathe. If the power goes out and you don't have mechanical ventilation, the air gets toxic in an hour. You will be fighting mold and condensation on the ceiling forever. The industrial doors weigh 1,000 pounds and can crush a man. If you get your hand caught in one, you are your own surgeon. You need to install a complex air exchange system with heat recovery just to stay alive. You will be living in a fireproof vault while your neighbors are worrying about their wood frame houses burning down. It is a heavy, silent life for a man who wants to survive the winter without a massive gas bill. You are living inside a giant thermos, waiting for the spring thaw while the world freezes outside. Number 5. Municipal maintenance yards, West Virginia. Every small county has a yard where they kept the snow plows and the dump trucks. When the county budget collapses, these yards go up for sale to the highest bidder. You are buying a small office building and a massive 6-bay garage. We are talking about 15,000 square feet of industrial space for $50,000. The appeal is the man cave on steroids. You can park every toy you have ever owned inside. You have a lift, a compressor room, and a parts department. You can live in the small office wing and spend your days in the shop. The local vibe is pure Appalachia. The neighbors are 3 miles away and they are likely running their own sawmill. Nobody cares if you have 5 non-running trucks in your yard. It is a landscape of rust, oil, and freedom. Picture yourself waking up and walking 20 feet to your own private mechanical empire. No commute and no HOA Karens telling you to mow your grass. But here is the catch. The ground is soaked in 50 years of diesel, hydraulic fluid, and road salt. Your boots will always smell like a garage. The heating bill for a 20-foot ceiling garage will make you want to move back to the city. You better be an expert at building a radiant floor heating system, or you will freeze your toes off in January. The roof is likely a giant sheet of corrugated metal that leaks every time it rains. You will spend your first 3 summers on a very tall ladder with a bucket of tar and a prayer. You will be fighting rust on your own roof while you fix the rust on your trucks. But you will own a property that is functionally a fortress of machinery. It is a place for the man who values a wrench more than a silk tie. You are the master of the yard, living in a palace of steel and grease. Number 4. Historic stone railroad depots, Pennsylvania. In the heart of the coal region, the railroads built depots out of hand-cut limestone. They were built to handle the vibration of 100-car coal trains for 100 years. Today, many are abandoned in small towns like Shamokin or Pottsville. You can buy a stone depot for around $40,000 if you are lucky and fast. The draw is the massive aesthetic and the physical strength. These are some of the most beautiful buildings in America. They have thick stone foundations and heavy oak timbers that are hard as iron. They were built when labor was cheap and civic pride was high. The local culture is coal-proud and resilient. The neighbors will love you for saving a piece of their history. They will bring you coffee while you are tuck-pointing the stone walls. Here is the part the brochure hides from you. You do not own the tracks. The railroad still owns the right-of-way 10 feet from your bedroom window. You will be woken up at 2 a.m. by a freight train that feels like a physical earthquake. The vibration will crack your plaster and rattle your teeth in your head. The zoning for a rail depot is a bureaucratic nightmare of federal, state, and local laws. You will be fighting the Department of Transportation for years just to get a mailbox. You better have a lawyer and a very high tolerance for noise. You will be spending your life cleaning soot off your windows, but you will be living in a stone masterpiece that would cost $3 million to build today. It is a piece of the American soul for the price of a mid-sized SUV. You are the station master of a life without a schedule. Number 3. Brick pumping stations, Missouri. These were built to move sewage or river water in the deep valleys. They are usually located at the end of isolated roads or tucked behind heavy brush. They are small, ornate brick buildings with deep underground levels. You can find these at a county surplus sale for $15,000. The draw is the subterranean freedom and the thermal mass. Most of the building is actually below the frost line in the earth. It stays 55 degrees year-round without any heat or AC. You have a small, beautiful brick house on top and a massive concrete bunker underneath. The local culture is Ozark independence and secrecy. If you want to disappear into your basement for a month, nobody is going to notice or care. You have absolute privacy and zero light pollution for your telescope. Picture yourself walking down a steel staircase into a room with 10-foot concrete walls that the world has forgotten. You finally have a place for your vault, your supplies, and your peace of mind. But here is the ugly part Zillow hides. The smell of 80 years of stagnant water, slime, and river mud is hard to remove. You will be scrubbing concrete with acid for a year just to get to the base layer. The risk of flooding is 100% if you aren't careful. If the pumps fail, your basement becomes a swimming pool in 10 minutes. You better be a master of plumbing and redundant pump systems. You will spend your life listening for the sound of rushing water in the middle of the night. You will be installing high-level alarms and backup batteries for your life. But for the man who wants a hidden fortress in the woods, the pumping station is a masterpiece of survival. You are the captain of a concrete submarine anchored in the Missouri mud. Number 2. National Guard Armories, Minnesota. These are the ultimate fortresses of the North. They were built for the military to store weapons, ammunition, and heavy vehicles. They look like castles because they were designed to be defended against a mob. We are talking about massive stone and brick buildings with steel gates and high-security windows. In small towns across the North, These are being decommissioned and sold. You can find a small-town armory for around $150,000. It is the most expensive thing on our list, but it is also the most complete. You have a gymnasium, a commercial kitchen, and an indoor firing range. The walls are 2 feet thick and the doors are reinforced steel with deadbolts. The draw is the king of the castle lifestyle. You are living in a building that can survive a riot, a war, or a Category 5 storm. The local vibe is Minnesota nice, but fiercely patriotic and independent. People will respect your fortress because they used to train there. They know how solid it is. Here is the part where the fantasy starts charging interest. The property taxes on a building this size will destroy a normal retirement budget. You will be fighting the tax assessor every single year about the market value. The roof is usually an acre of flat rubber that needs $5,000 in maintenance every few years. Heating a gymnasium in a Minnesota winter is a physical impossibility for a normal man. You will spend your life living in 3 small rooms and leaving the rest of the building to freeze. You better have a massive net worth just to pay the monthly utility bills. But you will own the most secure private residence in the state. It is a sanctuary for the man who believes that his home is his final defense. You are the general of a one-man army living in a monument to power. Number 1. Cold War communication bunkers, Kansas and Nebraska. Most people see a small concrete shack in the middle of a wheat field. They think it is a utility shed for the power company. But beneath that shack is a multi-million-dollar underground fortress of steel and concrete. We are talking about the A-10D bunkers, or the short-haul switching silos. These were built to survive a nuclear blast and keep the country talking during the end of the world. While the giant missile silos now cost millions, these smaller communication bunkers can be found for $80,000 to $125,000. The draw is absolute, total, and indestructible security. You are 30 feet underground, no wind, no noise, and no neighbors to hear you scream. You have massive blast doors and air filtration systems already installed. The local culture is non-existent because your nearest neighbor is a farmer 5 miles away. It is just you and the deep, silent earth. Picture yourself closing a 2-ton steel door and hearing the modern world disappear. You finally have the silence you have been searching for your whole life. No drones, no pings, no notifications, and no government. But here is the reality check. These things are often filled with 40 years of groundwater and rust. You will spend your first 3 years with a high-powered pump, a hazmat suit, and a bottle of bleach. The electrical systems are ancient and terrifying to work on. You will be hauling your own water and your own waste because there are no city pipes in a wheat field. The psychological toll of living without a window can be heavy on a man's soul. You will find yourself staring at a TV screen showing a fake sunset just to keep your sanity. You will be tracking the humidity levels like a scientist. But for the man who truly wants to exit the system and own a fortress that will be standing in 1,000 years, the bunker is the only answer. Out here, you don't just buy a house. You buy the ultimate leave me alone button. In a world that is getting louder, more expensive, and more fragile, that button is the most valuable thing you can own. Out here, the silence isn't just quiet, it is indestructible. You finally own your time, your space, and your life. You are the last man standing, deep in the American dirt.